I lost my daughter Melissa in 2002 in February. Biggest surprise of my life.
I lost my brother Kevin Duhaney, summer of 2012.
I lost my son Brian. He was 22 years old to suicide 15 years ago.
I had a very difficult relationship with my husband, who died in April of 2002.
I lost my husband to suicide.
I lost my son in 2004. It's been 10 years now, and he was 33 years old.
I lost my brother in May of 1995.
I lost Justin McNeil, Justin William Leishman McNeil to be exact. He was 20 years old.
I lost my younger brother, my only sibling. His name was Jimmy, to suicide about 4 years ago. He was 17 years old.
When you lose someone from suicide, it's a very isolating event.
You feel so alone when it happens to you. There's so much stigma still attached to suicide.
For a while, I was blaming myself for my dad's suicide.
I felt numb, and I felt like I should feel more.
I know early in my grief, like you really did think you're going crazy, but until you sit down with other parents and hear their stories and you go, oh yes, I was thinking that too, or I was feeling that too.
I think suicide is often something that's challenging for people to talk about. And at Suicide Day, it's amazing at the courage and the genuineness of people in telling their stories and talking about some of the most traumatic experiences that they've ever had in such a safe, nurturing way where there's no judgment, there's no shame. It's just a really safe place for people to gather that have a shared loss.
I felt very welcome because I was in a room with people that had dealt with what I had dealt with.
You kind of get people's grief at every angle and prepares you for what feelings you may come to in the future. Gives you an idea of how, where you might be later on because you're so distraught and lost.
SOS Day introduced me to the CMHA and I got involved. And the first meeting I attended, I walked in and the volunteers were laughing and joking. And I thought to myself, one of these days, maybe I can be there too.
To me, the biggest benefit of that first year was actually for my wife. Once she started talking with other people about their loss, people that have lost, parents that have lost a child, young adults that have lost a parent, people that lost a spouse, a husband, or a wife. She really got a better appreciation as to how it affects a person's emotionally.
This is a day where I'm allowed to be whatever I need to be. Whether I'm emotional, whether I get a little bit silly, whether I get whatever I get. That this is a day where anything and everything goes. So I am not ashamed of being emotional on that day.
But the magic of it is, I think, that we can just be ourselves. We can laugh or cry, and no one's sort of watching us because we're all in it together.
I mean, I think about Justin all the time, but just having a full day with a day to reflect, and it's his day and it's my day, and other people's in that situation. So for that reason, it's been very healing.
There's healing in having a day set aside that we can remember our loved ones that have passed. And often at times when no one else wants to talk about them or remember them.
Despite, the many struggles you may have had, or despite not knowing why it happened, or it helps you continue on with the bond.
It makes you feel like you're a part of something and you can take a different path and start helping other people, even just by being support for them.
I have found a lot of strength and courage to go on, just helping facilitate the tables at SOS Day.
You incorporate this grief into your life, but there is a time when you wake up in the morning, instead of the first thing you think about is your son died, you start remembering that he lived and sort of the fun things. That's a turning point. And after that turning point, I feel it's my mission to get others that are grieving to that point. And so that's why I come back to SOS Day to now facilitate at tables with others that are grieving.